Admiral Taman Park stood on the bridge of the largest warship ever built by human hands. The UES Retribution stretched 15 kilometers from bow to stern, its dark hull gleaming under the artificial lights of Earth's orbital shipyard. After 300 years of secret construction, humanity's greatest achievement was finally ready. Taman remembered the stories his grandfather told him. Stories of the day Earth's radio telescopes first detected the Galactic Council's communications. 13 alien species ruled the galaxy with an iron fist. They had millions of warships. They treated weaker races as slaves, and they were coming this way. "Sir, all systems are green," Captain Sora Kim reported from her station. She was young for such an important job, but her mind was sharp as a blade. "The crew is ready for launch," Taman nodded. The crew of 50,000 had trained their entire lives for this mission. They were the best Earth could offer. They had to be. Humanity's survival depended on them. Dr. Wu Jin Lee looked up from his science console. His hair had gone gray during the final years of weapon development. "Admiral, the quantum cascade systems are stable. The stellar lance is charged and ready. Our shields are at maximum power." These were not ordinary weapons. For 3 centuries, Earth's greatest minds had worked in secret. They had discovered things the Alien Council never imagined. Zero-point energy, quantum manipulation, weapons that could destroy entire fleets with a single shot. The Retribution's AI system, which the crew called Ghost, spoke in its calm electronic voice. "Admiral, long-range sensors detect the Council patrol fleet approaching Earth's outer system. 17 ships. They will arrive in 6 hours. Taman closed his eyes. This was it, the moment humanity had prepared for since the day they learned they were not alone. The Council patrol had finally found Earth. They would demand surrender. They would try to make humanity another slave race. "Ghost, open a channel to Earth Command," Taman ordered. President Han appeared on the main screen. The leader of United Earth looked tired. The weight of humanity's future showed in every line on his face. "Admiral Park, are you ready?" "Yes, sir." "The Retribution will launch as soon as the Council ships arrive. We'll give them our answer in person." President Han smiled grimly. 300 years of preparation. "Everything depends on you now. We won't let you down, sir." The channel closed. Taman walked to the massive viewing window that looked out over Earth, blue and green and beautiful. The only home humanity had ever known. Soon he would leave it behind. He might never see it again. "Captain Kim, prepare the crew for departure. Dr. Lee, run final checks on all weapon systems. Ghost, monitor the approaching patrol fleet." "Yes, sir," they replied together. Taman thought about the Council. High Chancellor Vextar of the Reptilian Krellians, War Prime Zulmoth of the Insect Hive Minds, Trademaster Quindar of the Amphibious Merchant Clans. They ruled 13 species and countless worlds. They had never met a force they could not defeat. They had never met humanity. The Council patrol arrived exactly on schedule. 17 sleek warships dropped out of hyperspace near Earth's moon. They were beautiful ships, Taman admitted, but they were also the ships of conquerors, the ships of those who crushed the weak. "Admiral," Ghost reported, "the patrol fleet is hailing Earth. They demand immediate surrender and submission to Council authority. They classify humanity as a primitive species suitable for slave labor." Taman's jaw tightened. Slave labor? After everything humanity had accomplished. After 3 centuries of growth and discovery. The Council saw them as nothing more than workers to be used and thrown away. "Ghost, prepare for launch. All hands to battle stations." Alarms rang throughout the massive ship. 50,000 crew members rushed to their posts. The Retribution's engines came online with a deep, powerful hum. Energy readings spiked across every system. Captain Kim checked her instruments. "All departments report ready, sir. The ship is yours to command." Dr. Lee's hands flew over his controls. "Weapons are armed and targeted. Shields at full power. We're as ready as we'll ever be." Taman nodded.
He activated the ship-wide communication system.
"Attention, crew of the Retribution. For 300 years, our species has worked toward this moment. We built this ship in secret. We developed weapons the galaxy has never seen. We did all of this because we knew this day would come." He paused, looking out at the stars. "The Galactic Council thinks we are weak. They think we are primitives who will bow down and accept slavery. They are about to learn how wrong they are. Today we show them what humanity can do. Today we show them that Earth will never kneel." The crew cheered. The sound echoed through every corridor of the great ship. "Launch," Taman ordered. The Retribution moved, slowly at first, then faster and faster. The massive ship accelerated away from Earth's orbital shipyard. Its destination was the Nexus system, 3,000 light-years away, the heart of the Galactic Council's power. As Earth fell behind them, Ghost calculated their hyperspace jump. "Admiral, we will arrive at Nexus in 72 hours. Long-range sensors show heavy Council fleet activity in the system." "How heavy?" Captain Kim asked. "Approximately 50,000 ships of various classes, the largest fleet concentration in known space." Dr. Lee whistled softly. 50,000 against one. "Those are interesting odds," Taman smiled. His grandfather would have liked that attitude. "Ghost, send a message to Earth. Tell them the Retribution is away. Tell them we're going to deliver humanity's answer to the Council's demands." "Message sent, Admiral." The great ship jumped to hyperspace. Space twisted around the Retribution as it traveled faster than light toward the center of galactic civilization. Inside, 50,000 humans prepared for the battle that would decide their species' fate. Taman stood alone on the bridge as his crew worked at their stations. Soon the galaxy would learn that humanity was not weak. They would learn that Earth's children were not slaves. They would learn that sometimes the small and quiet ones were the most dangerous of all. The Retribution flew through hyperspace toward its destiny. Behind it, Earth waited. Ahead lay the greatest empire the galaxy had ever known. Between them was one human ship, carrying the hopes and dreams of an entire world. The galaxy was about to discover what happened when you threatened humanity's home. The Nexus system was the crown jewel of the Galactic Council. 7 worlds orbited a bright yellow star, each one home to billions of aliens from across the galaxy. Massive space stations connected the planets like shining beads on invisible strings. It was beautiful and terrible at the same time. High Chancellor Vexitar stood in the Council chamber on Nexus Prime, his scaled skin gleaming under the soft lights. The reptilian leader of the Krellian Empire had ruled for over 2 centuries. Nothing had ever challenged his power. "The patrol fleet reports success," he announced to the other council members. "They have found the primitive world called Earth. The species there shows no signs of advanced technology. They will make excellent workers." War Prime Zulmoth clicked her insect mandibles in approval. As leader of the hive mind species, she valued efficiency above all else. "How many ships will we need for the conquest?" "A single battle group should be enough," Vextar replied. "Perhaps 50 ships. These humans appear to have barely discovered space travel." Trademaster Quindar adjusted his breathing apparatus. The amphibious merchant worried about profit margins, not conquest. "What resources does this world offer?" "Water, metals, and a large population for labor," Vextar said. "Standard integration protocol will begin immediately." That was when the alarm started screaming. "High Chancellor," a technician called out, "we're detecting a massive energy signature approaching the system. Something big is coming out of hyperspace." Vextar frowned. "Define big." "Sir, the energy readings are off our scales. We've never seen anything like this." War Prime Zulmoth's compound eyes focused on the displays. "Show us." The main screen lit up with sensor data. A single contact was approaching fast. The energy signature was enormous, far beyond anything in their databases. "It must be a sensor error," Vextar declared. No single ship could generate those readings. But it was not an error. Space twisted and screamed as the UES Retribution dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Nexus system. The massive human warship created gravitational waves that shook every planet in the system. Space stations wobbled in their orbits. On the surface of 7 worlds, people felt the ground tremble beneath their feet. Admiral Taman Park stood on his bridge and looked at the heart of galactic civilization. 50,000 enemy ships hung in space around the 7 planets. It was the largest fleet he had ever seen. "Ghost, scan their formations," he ordered. The AI processed millions of data points in seconds. "Admiral, I count 47,632 vessels of Council design. Most appear to be older models. Their weapon systems are standard plasma and missile configurations." Captain Sora Kim studied the tactical display. "They're arranged for system defense, not for battle." They weren't expecting visitors. Dr. Wu Jin Lee checked his weapon systems one more time. "All systems green, Admiral." "The quantum cascade weapons are ready. The stellar lance is charged to full power." "Incoming transmission," Ghost announced. "They're hailing us." "Put it through." The main screen showed High Chancellor Vextar. The alien leader looked angry and confused. Behind him, Taman could see other council members gathering. Unknown vessel, Vextar said. You have entered Council space without permission. Identify yourself immediately and prepare to be boarded. Taman stepped forward. He had practiced this moment for years. This is Admiral Taman Park of the United Earthship Retribution. I represent the human species. Vextar's eyes widened. Human? But our patrol fleet reported that your species was primitive. You should not have ships like this. Your patrol fleet made demands of my people, Taman replied calmly. They wanted us to surrender. They wanted to make us slaves. We have come to give you our answer. And what is that answer? No. The word hung in space between the two ships. On Nexus Prime, the council chamber fell silent. No one had ever told them no. Not in 3,000 years. War Prime Zulmoth stepped forward. Her insect features showed no emotion, but her voice carried menace. Human, you are one ship. We have 50,000. Your answer is irrelevant, Captain Kim whispered to Tae-min. Sir, they're powering up weapons across the fleet. Looks like they're done talking. Dr. Lee's hands moved over his controls. Admiral, I'm detecting movement in their formations. They're surrounding us, Tae-min nodded. He had expected this. The council ruled through force. They had never learned to negotiate because they never had to. Ghost, open a channel to all council frequencies. Channel open. Sir. Taemin's voice carried across the system to every ship and station. People of the Galactic Council, this is Admiral Park of Earth. Your leaders have demanded that my species submit to slavery. We refuse. If you choose to attack us, we will defend ourselves. We do not want war, but we will not accept chains. High Chancellor Vextar laughed. The sound was cold and cruel. One ship against 50,000. This will be over quickly. Perhaps, Taemin said, but not in the way you think. Vextar's expression changed. Something in the human's voice made him pause. There was no fear there, no doubt. Only certainty. All fleet units, War Prime Zulmoth commanded, attack formation, destroy the human ship. Across the system, 50,000 ships began to move. Plasma cannons charged. Missile tubes opened. The greatest fleet in galactic history prepared to crush one enemy vessel. On the Retribution, alarms sounded as the alien fleet approached. All hands, battle stations. Taemin announced, This is not a drill. We are about to engage the enemy. Remember your training. Remember your purpose. We fight not just for ourselves, but for every free being in the galaxy. Captain Kim watched the enemy ships close in. Sir, they're coming at us in waves. First wave is 5,000 ships. Dr. Lee, weapons free. Engage at your discretion, aye, sir. Ghost, target the lead ships. Prepare quantum cascade sequence. The Retribution's weapon systems came online. Along the great ship's hull, weapon ports opened like hungry mouths. Energy built up in the stellar lance, humanity's most powerful weapon. Enemy ships entering firing range, Ghost reported. Taemin took his position in the command chair. All crew, this is the Admiral. Today we make history. Today we show the galaxy what humanity can do. Fire when ready. The first wave of Council ships opened fire. Thousands of plasma bolts and missiles streaked toward the lone human vessel. They never made it. The Retribution's point defense systems activated. Laser grids tracked every incoming projectile. In 3 seconds, 80% of the enemy. Fire was destroyed before it could reach the ship. The remaining 20% struck the Retributions. Shields and vanished like raindrops on a window. Shields. At 98%, Dr. Lee reported. No damage. On Nexus Prime, Vextar stared at the displays in shock. How is that possible? The answer came in a beam of pure energy that cut across space like a sword of light. The stellar lance fired for the first time in combat, and 200 Council ships simply ceased to exist. The galaxy's defenders had just learned that they were no longer the strongest force in space. The stellar lance's first shot lit up the Nexus system like a newborn star. 200 Council ships vanished in an instant, reduced to glowing particles that scattered across space. On 7 worlds, billions of aliens watched in stunned silence as their invincible fleet began to die. Admiral Taemin Park stood calm at the center of the storm. Around him, his crew worked with deadly precision. The Retribution was no longer just a ship. It had become an instrument of war unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Second wave incoming, Captain So-Ra Kim reported. 8,000 ships this time. They're spreading out to avoid the lance. High Chancellor Vexitar's voice crackled across the communication channel. His reptilian features twisted with rage and disbelief. Impossible. No single weapon can destroy so many ships. War Prime Zolmoth had taken direct command of the fleet. Her insect mind calculated odds and probabilities at lightning speed. All units, scatter formation, attack from multiple vectors. One ship cannot defend against 50,000. She was wrong. Dr. Wu Jin Li's hands danced across his weapons console. Admiral, activating quantum cascade systems. Target selection complete. Fire. Taemin ordered. The retribution unleashed humanity's deadliest secret. Quantum cascade weapons fired in perfect sequence, creating a chain reaction that jumped from ship to ship like deadly lightning. Each weapon hit caused a quantum disruption that spread to nearby vessels. The effect cascaded through entire squadrons. In 30 seconds, 3,000 more council ships were gone. "Sir," Ghost reported, "enemy formations are breaking apart. They're trying to regroup at maximum range." Captain Kim studied the tactical display. "They're learning, Admiral. They won't cluster together anymore." "Then we'll teach them another lesson," Taemin replied. "Dr. Li, bring us about. Let's show them what this ship can do." The massive retribution began to move. Despite its enormous size, the human warship turned and accelerated with impossible grace. Council fleet commanders watched in horror as the 15-kilometer vessel maneuvered like a fighter craft. Trademaster Quindar's amphibious voice bubbled with panic. "How can something that large move so quickly? It violates every principle of physics." Dr. Li smiled as he monitored the ship's systems. 300 years of human engineering had produced miracles. The retribution used controlled gravity fields for propulsion. It could dance around enemy fire while delivering devastating attacks. "Third wave forming up," Captain Kim announced. 12,000 ships. They're trying to surround us." "Let them come," Taemin said. "Ghost, prepare hyperspace targeting system." War Prime Zolmoth's compound eyes tracked the human ship's movement. "All units maximum firepower. Concentrate all weapons on that vessel. Nothing can survive the combined fire of 12,000 ships." The third wave attacked from every direction. Plasma bolts, missiles, and energy beams filled space around the retribution. It was the largest coordinated attack in galactic history. The human ship's shields flared as they absorbed the massive bombardment. Energy readings spiked across every system. For a moment, it seemed like the Council might finally overwhelm their enemy. Then the retribution revealed its most terrifying secret. "Hyperspace targeting system online," Ghost announced. "All enemy positions locked." Dr. Li looked up from his console. "Admiral, we can fire through hyperspace itself. Every enemy ship in the system is now within range." "Show them," Taemin ordered. The retribution fired into hyperspace. Its weapons emerged from the twisted dimensions of faster-than-light space, striking targets across the entire star system simultaneously. Ships exploded around all 7 planets at exactly the same moment. The effect was impossible, terrifying, and absolutely devastating. Council reinforcements that were jumping into the system found themselves under attack the instant they emerged from hyperspace. Their ships were destroyed before they could even see their enemy. High Chancellor Vextar screamed orders that no one could follow. "How are they doing this? How can they be everywhere at once?" Captain Kim counted the kills as they appeared on her display. "Sir, we've destroyed over 20,000 enemy vessels. That's almost half their fleet. The surviving Council ships tried to retreat, but there was nowhere to run. The retribution could reach any target in the system instantly. Every time they tried to group together, quantum cascade weapons tore them apart. Every time they spread out, the stellar lance picked them off one by one." Dr. Li monitored his weapon systems with growing amazement. "Admiral, all weapons are performing beyond specifications. The quantum cascade effect is actually getting stronger as we use it. It's learning from each engagement." "That's impossible," came a transmission from the Council fleet. War Prime Zolomoth's voice carried a note of desperation. "Weapons cannot learn. They cannot adapt. Human weapons can," Taemin replied calmly. He was right. Ghost was not just an AI. It was a quantum computer that could process battle data faster than any organic mind. With each exchange of fire, it learned more about Council technology. The Retribution's adaptive shields were already adjusting to enemy weapons, making them less and less effective. Fourth wave aborted, Captain Kim reported. The remaining ships are falling back to planetary defense positions. Trademaster Quindar's panic was clear in his voice. This is madness. We need to negotiate. We need to surrender, War Prime Zulmoth interrupted. The insect leader had run the calculations. This battle cannot be won, but High Chancellor Vextar refused to accept defeat. Never. We rule this galaxy. No primitive species will take that from us. He ordered the planetary defense platforms to open fire. Giant orbital weapons that could crack moons turned their guns on the lone human ship. It was the Council's last desperate gamble. The platforms fired together, creating energy beams powerful enough to destroy continents. The combined firepower was more than most fleets could generate. The Retribution's shields absorbed it all without strain. Shield strength holding at 85%, Dr. Lee reported. Their weapons aren't strong enough to hurt us. Taman nodded. It was time to end this. Ghost, target all planetary defense platforms. Stellar Lance full power. Sir, Captain Kim said quietly, that will leave their worlds defenseless. They chose this fight, Taman replied. Fire. The Stellar Lance fired 7 times in rapid sequence. 7 beams of pure energy reached across space and destroyed every orbital weapon platform in the system. The Council's last line of defense vanished in silent explosions. Silence fell across the Nexus system. The greatest fleet in galactic history was gone. 35,000 ships destroyed or disabled. The remainder fled to hide behind their planets like frightened children. The UES Retribution hung in space almost undamaged, surrounded by the debris of its enemies. High Chancellor Vexitar's voice came across the communication channel one last time. It was broken, defeated. What do you want? Admiral Taemin. Park looked out at the 7 worlds that had ruled the galaxy for 3,000 years. We want you to listen, he said, because humanity has terms. The debris of 35,000 warships drifted through the Nexus system like a graveyard of metal and broken dreams. On 7 worlds, billions of aliens stared at their screens in disbelief. The impossible had happened. The Galactic Council's mighty fleet was gone, destroyed by a single enemy ship. In the Council chamber on Nexus Prime, emergency sessions had been running for 6 hours straight. Representatives from 13 species argued, pleaded, and accused each other while Admiral Taemin Park's ultimatum hung over them like a sword. High Chancellor Vextar paced back and forth, his scaled skin pale with shock. This cannot be happening. We have ruled for 3,000 years. We have never been defeated. War Prime Zulmoth stood perfectly still, her compound eyes processing data streams from across the galaxy. The mathematics are clear, Chancellor. Continued resistance has a 0% chance of success. The human ship could destroy any world in Council space within hours. You suggest we surrender? Vextar snarled. Bow down to primitives who discovered space travel yesterday? I suggest we survive, Zulmoth replied coldly. Dead species make poor rulers. Trademaster Quindar adjusted his breathing apparatus nervously. The amphibious merchant had been calculating economic projections all day. The financial cost of this defeat is staggering. We've lost 60% of our military assets. Our trade networks are in collapse. Several species are already talking about leaving the Council. That was true. Across the galaxy, species that had been forced into the Council were watching events at Nexus with great interest. Some were sending secret messages to Earth. Others were mobilizing their own fleets. The empire that had seemed eternal was cracking. On the bridge of the Retribution, Admiral Park received regular updates from Ghost. The AI monitored communications across 13 star systems, tracking the political chaos spreading through Council space. Admiral, Ghost reported, 3 species have announced they are withdrawing from the Council. The Ferric Dominion, the Crystal Communes, and the Shellwalker clans are declaring independence. Captain Sora Kim nodded approvingly. The Empire is falling apart. Our victory has shown everyone that the Council can be beaten. Dr. Woojin Lee looked up from his science station. Sir, we're receiving communications from 17 different species. They all want to negotiate separate peace treaties with Earth. Tamian was not surprised. Fear was a powerful motivator, but so was hope. For centuries, countless species had dreamed of freedom from council rule. Now that dream seemed possible. Ghost, open a channel to all council frequencies. It's time to make our position clear. The main screen activated, broadcasting Admiral Park's image across the Nexus system and beyond. On 13 worlds, alien leaders watched as the human commander began to speak. People of the Galactic Council, Tamian said. 6 hours ago, your leaders demanded that humanity surrender to slavery. We gave you our answer. Now we offer you terms for peace. High Chancellor Vextar appeared on a split screen, his reptilian features twisted with rage. You dare dictate terms to us? I state facts, Tamian replied calmly. Your military is destroyed. Your empire is crumbling. Your only choice is between negotiation and annihilation. War Prime Zulmoth's insect voice was emotionless. State your terms. Tamian had memorized these words. They had been written by Earth's greatest minds and approved by every nation on his home world. First, complete military disarmament within 30 standard days. All Council warships will be surrendered or destroyed. Impossible. Trademaster Quindar bubbled. We need ships for commerce and system defense. You will be allowed to keep patrol craft and merchant vessels, Tamian continued. But no military warships. No weapons of mass destruction. No orbital battle platforms. Vextar's scales flushed dark with anger. And leave ourselves defenseless? You will have Earth's protection, Tamian said. Second term, immediate dissolution of all slave species arrangements. Every conquered world will be given the choice to remain in a reformed council or declare independence. That caused an uproar. Half the council's power came from controlling weaker species. They forced billions of beings to work in mines, factories, and farms across the galaxy. Our economy will collapse, Quindar protested. Then build a better one, Captain Kim interjected from off-screen. Based on trade, not slavery. Tamian raised his hand for silence. Third term, technology and resource sharing agreements. Council species will share their scientific knowledge with Earth and with each other. No more hoarding of medical advances or energy technologies. Dr. Lee smiled as he listened. This was the term he had helped write. For too long, the Council had kept their best discoveries secret from subject species. Entire worlds suffered from diseases that could be easily cured, simply because they were not important enough to share advanced medicine with. Fourth term, Tamian continued, human oversight of all interspecies conflicts. Earth will mediate disputes and prevent wars between Council members. You want to rule us, Vextar accused. We want to stop you from ruling others, Tamian replied. The age of galactic empires is over. The age of cooperation begins now. War Prime Zulmoth calculated the implications. And the fifth term? Recognition of Earth as the supreme galactic authority. All major decisions affecting multiple species must be approved by human representatives. The council chamber fell silent. These terms would end their empire completely. They would transform the galaxy's political structure forever. And if we refuse? Vextar asked quietly. Tamian's expression hardened. Then we will remove you from power by force, Dr. Lee. Show them. On screens across the galaxy, new images appeared. They showed Earth's orbital shipyards where dozens of ships identical to the Retribution were under construction. Humanity's desperate gambit was revealed as just the first move in a much larger plan. The Retribution was our prototype, Dr. Lee explained. Earth now has 7 completed warships of the same class with 20 more under construction. We also have new weapon designs that make our current systems look primitive. Captain Kim added her own analysis. Our military intelligence indicates that you have no defenses capable of stopping even one of our ships. Against 7, resistance would be suicide. The truth hit the Council like a physical blow. Humanity had not sent their only ship on a desperate mission. They had sent their oldest ship as a demonstration. Trademaster Quindar was the first to break. The merchant clans accept Earth's terms. We formally surrender and request protection under human authority. One by one, other species followed. The Crystal Communes, the Shellwalker clans, the Ferric Dominion, even some of the original council members began to see the benefits of peace over destruction. But High Chancellor Vextar refused to yield. The Krellian Empire will never surrender. We would rather die as rulers than live as subjects. War Prime Zulmoth turned to face him. Then you will die alone. The hive minds choose survival. We accept the human terms. Vextar looked around the chamber and saw the truth in every face. His empire was gone. His allies had abandoned him. His fleets were destroyed. "You have 30 days to comply," Admiral Park announced. "Any species that attempts to hide military assets or continue slavery will be removed from power." This is not a negotiation. This is the new reality. The transmission ended, leaving the council chamber in stunned silence. On the retribution, Tai Min allowed himself a small smile. Phase 1 was complete. The galaxy's most powerful empire had fallen without Earth losing a single life. But he knew this was just the beginning. Some species would comply willingly. Others would resist until the end. Ghost, begin monitoring all council military installations. Captain Kim, prepare occupation protocols. Dr. Lee, start analyzing their technology databases. What about the resistance movements? Kim asked. Intelligence suggests several extremist factions are planning attacks on human assets. Taemin's smile faded. Then we'll be ready for them. The galaxy is about to learn that humanity keeps its promises, both the good ones and the bad ones. 6 months after the Battle of Nexus, the galaxy had changed beyond recognition. The old council was gone, replaced by a new system of cooperation and mutual protection. On worlds that had known only slavery for generations, people walked free for the first time in centuries. Director Hyejin Choi stood in the orbital station above New Geneva, humanity's first diplomatic outpost beyond Earth. Through the massive viewing windows, she could see ships from dozens of species coming and going. Trade vessels, diplomatic shuttles, and even some of the Reformed Council's new patrol craft moved in perfect harmony. The integration reports are encouraging, she told General Dongwu Seo, who commanded Earth's occupation forces. 17 species have fully complied with our terms. Their former slave worlds are transitioning to self-governance ahead of schedule. General Seo nodded, but his expression remained serious. What about the holdouts? 3 species are still resisting. The Krellian hardliners, the war caste of the hive minds, and the deep void cultists. They formed what they call the Liberation Alliance. The Liberation Alliance was a problem. Led by High Chancellor Vextar's younger brother, Zektar, they had stolen advanced council technology and were hiding in the Outer Rim systems. Intelligence reports suggested they were planning something big. Engineer Mi Young-yoon looked up from her technical displays. Director, we've successfully integrated council technology into our defensive networks. Their former weapons are now protecting the worlds they once threatened. That was one of humanity's greatest achievements. Instead of simply destroying council technology, Earth's engineers had repurposed it for protection and construction. Weapons designed to kill had been turned into tools that saved lives. Any word from Admiral Park? General Seo asked. Hyejin smiled. The Admiral is currently at Kepler Station, overseeing the Joint Defense Training Program. Former council species are learning to work together to protect their own worlds. It was remarkable progress. Species that had been enemies for millennia were now allies. The fear of human retaliation had forced them to cooperate, but cooperation was slowly becoming genuine partnership. That was when the alarm started. Director, the station's AI announced, long-range sensors detect multiple hostile contacts approaching the system. Estimated fleet strength, 800 ships. General Seo was already moving toward the command center. The Liberation Alliance? Confirmed, came the reply. Ships match stolen council designs. They're broadcasting a general message. The main screen activated, showing Zektar's reptilian face. He looked like his brother, but younger and more desperate. People of the galaxy, we come to liberate you from human oppression. The false peace ends today. Hyejin sighed. She had hoped it would not come to this. General, alert all defense forces. Engineer Yoon, activate the planetary shield systems. Already done, Myung replied. Her fingers flew over the controls as she brought Earth's most advanced defenses online. Director, I'm also detecting something else. Multiple hyperspace signatures approaching from the opposite direction. More Liberation Alliance ships? General Seo asked. No, sir. These signatures are familiar. Space twisted as 7 massive shapes dropped out of hyperspace around New Geneva. The UES Retribution led a formation of Earth's newest warships. Each one was larger and more advanced than the prototype that had destroyed the Council fleet 6 months ago. Admiral Taemin Park's voice came through the communication system. Director Choi, this is Admiral Park aboard the UES Judgment. We received your distress signal. Admiral, Hyejin replied, we have 800 hostiles inbound. They're calling themselves the Liberation Alliance, we know. Ghost has been tracking them for weeks. They made a mistake, Director. They thought Earth only had one ship. Through the viewing windows, He-Jin could see the human fleet positioning itself between the station and the approaching enemy. 7 ships against 800. The odds seemed impossible, but she had seen impossible things before. The Liberation Alliance fleet arrived in a massive formation, their ships bristling with stolen Council weapons. They had spent months preparing for this attack, gathering every piece of military technology they could find. Zektar's voice echoed across all frequencies. Humans, you have destroyed our empire and enslaved our people. Today we take our revenge. Admiral Park's reply was calm and measured. Zektar, you have one chance to surrender. Your ships are outmatched. Your cause is hopeless. Don't make us destroy you. Never. Liberation Alliance attack formation. Show these humans what Council technology can do. The enemy fleet charged forward, 800 ships moving in perfect coordination. They had learned from their predecessors' mistakes. Instead of clustering together, they spread out in multiple waves. Instead of using standard Council tactics, they had developed new strategies designed specifically to fight human ships. It did not matter. The UES Judgment fired first. Its stellar lance was more powerful than the Retribution's, and its quantum cascade weapons had been refined through months of testing. The leading edge of the enemy formation simply vanished. 200 ships destroyed in the first salvo. The other 6 human ships opened fire simultaneously. Their weapons were different from each other, each one designed to test new technologies. The UES Vengeance used gravity manipulation weapons that crushed enemy ships like tin cans. The UES Thunder fired pure energy that ignored shields and armor completely. In 10 minutes, the Liberation Alliance was gone. 800 ships reduced to glowing debris scattered across space. Not a single human vessel was even damaged. Zektar's final transmission was filled with disbelief. How? How can you be so powerful? Admiral Park's answer was broadcast across the galaxy. Because we learned from you. For 3,000 years you ruled through fear and violence. You never had to innovate because no one could challenge you. Humanity spent 300 years preparing for war with beings who forgot how to fight. The last Liberation Alliance ship exploded in a brief flash of light. In the aftermath, General Seo stared at the tactical display in amazement. 7 ships against 800 and we didn't even take damage. Engineer Yoon was already analyzing the battle data. The enemy weapons barely registered on our shields. Their stolen technology is centuries behind our current capabilities. Director Choi activated the galaxy-wide communication system. This is Director Hyjin Choi of United Earth. The Liberation Alliance has been defeated. Their threat to galactic peace is ended. Any remaining resistance cells should surrender immediately. Across the galaxy, the few remaining holdout groups laid down their weapons. The last challenge to human authority was over. 5 years later, Admiral Park stood on the observation deck of the UES Infinity, humanity's first extragalactic exploration vessel. Behind him, the Milky Way galaxy spun slowly in space, peaceful and prosperous under Earth's guidance. The galaxy had been transformed. Wars between species were extinct. Slavery was a memory. Technology and knowledge flowed freely between worlds. Children of dozens of species played together on colonies that had once been battlegrounds. Admiral, Captain Kim said, joining him at the viewing window. The crew is ready for departure. Our destination is the Andromeda Galaxy. Estimated travel time 18 months. Taemin nodded. The galaxy was safe now. Other humans would continue Earth's work here, maintaining peace and fostering cooperation. But humanity's real nature was not to rule or dominate. It was to explore. Ghost, he said. Open a channel to Earth Command. President Han appeared on the screen, older now but still strong. Admiral Park, ready for humanity's next adventure? Yes, sir. The crew of the Infinity is honored to represent Earth beyond our galaxy. Good luck, Admiral. And remember, we go in peace. In peace, Taemin repeated. The UES Infinity jumped to hyperspace, carrying humanity toward the distant stars of Andromeda. Behind it, the galaxy that had once quaked at humanity's arrival now looked to the future with hope. Earth's children had learned that the greatest victory was not conquest, but the chance to explore new wonders among the stars. The galaxy was just the beginning.